Candace, your character is now the only character who doesn't know about the metaverse.
Yeah, thanks, I'd forgotten until now.
Yeah, I just thought I'd remind you that I rub your nose in it. Yeah, but what's interesting is obviously you're incredibly curious and you want to know, Iris wants to know what's going on. She's investigating this world. She's obviously interacting with Flash. But everybody is lying to her.
Everyone.
Everybody is lying to her. And her father looked her dead in the face and said, there is no Flash.
Yeah, I thought you were a good father.
Look, you know that I have to lie to you sometimes. You're very inquisitive.
Okay.
I really want to know. I'm curious how that's been for you as an actress, but also how that's going to affect your relationship with your father and your boyfriend when you find out that everybody's been keeping you in the dark.
Yeah.
I mean, as an actress, it's fun to play. It's also frustrating because I know fans are constantly asking me, when is Iris going to find out? How can she not know? But I think there's something really interesting about playing the Iris West, the Lois Lane. I think that has to exist in this kind of comic book story. I think it's always adds a bit of excitement and mystery of when is she going to find out, and when that moment happens, what's it going to be like? And for me, I can only imagine that, you know, when she finds out that Barry and Joe, her family, the two men that she really only has in her life, have been lying to her.
Thanks.
It's going to...
Yeah. Have you met Eddie?
Daddy, help. I guess we know where Iris is feeling lie. What was I saying? When she finds out that the two men that she's grown up with. Good save. Good save. Are we gonna be okay?
We'll talk about it later, honey.
No, but seriously, I think when she finds out that these two men have been lying to her, it's gonna be a huge sense of betrayal. I think that's at the base of everything. Is, you know, how could your family, the people that you look in the eye, like you said, every day, keep something so big from her? Mm-hmm. It's gonna change everything.
Cool.
Yeah.
Let's talk a little bit about science now, because this is an incredibly science-heavy show. First I want to talk to the EPs, and then I want to talk to the scientists. But
they're actual scientists.
Scientists, and I want answers about wormholes. How much of the science on the show is rooted in actual science, practical science? How much of it is speculative, and how much of it is totally made up comic book bull crap?
Do tell.
I think the best versions of the metahumans have some kernel of it that's based in something, you know. And I think that, you know, especially like, you know, when we're talking about, you know, the Weather Wizard, you know, which is coming up in episode 15, and Cisco develops the Wizard Wand to help sap his powers, and, you know, Barry responds like, oh, it's a grounding mechanism. Like, there's just enough sort of real science in it to sort of like, you know, make you believe it. It's mostly BS.
I think for us, we try to make sure it's emotionally true. You know, I think that's the.
Yeah.
Wow.
No, but we do, or that we always try and follow the rules that we at least establish for ourselves. You know, for instance, the next 2 episodes will deal with the introduction of time travel into our universe on the show, and so obviously, you know, that's still not possible as far as I know. But by our standards of the show, we try and sort of, you know, establish our own set of rules.
Like you make them up?
Establish.
Yeah. Make them up. Yeah, make them up. So Danielle and Carlos, you guys get to play pretty brilliant people. And I guess I want to start with you, Danielle, because, you know, you play this character who's both, you know, kind of a brilliant scientist and a very kind of fierce advocate for her team, and also on the other side has gone through some intense emotional bruising. How has that been for you to play over this season? Because you kind of get to be like a scientific badass, and then, you know, my man is dead. So,
And then I'm like,
yeah. my man is dead. He's on fire. What happened?
That line got
Oh,
cut.
man, he's on fire.
For me, it's just been a delight. You know, as an actor, you hope to get material that challenges you, and it does. It's so exciting to read the scripts. You know, I'm like an audience member in that sense, that we can't wait to see what's coming next. And, you know, Caitlin has had such a great arc. You know, she did start off so cold and sad and grieving, and then, you know, she's gone through this amazing journey, and there's still more to come. I mean, Ronnie Raymond's only a phone call away.
He seems like he'd be super hard to make out with, though. I just want to say.
My job is tough.
Like, you get, I mean, but like, you know, once he turns into Firestorm, it's like, you know,
He's on fire.
don't, yeah, like literally on fire. And so keep your bits over there because you're very delicate. That's all I'm saying.
I am delicate.
You got a delicate flower. One thing also I think you guys have done beautifully with the show is made science really cool. You know, it's interesting, it's compelling, it's fun. I think a big part of that is your character, Carlos, because you're so funny. And you know, there's like you definitely are like you definitely have you have a lot of swagger.
Oh, well, thank you. I do have a flash pin on. So, you know, bringing my swagger over the door.
And obviously, Cisco is in charge of naming all the metahumans.
Maybe I'm named one.
Rainbow Raider, really?
Very feminine. Rainbow Raider. Yeah, Reggie Biff. How much of those names are scripted? Do you ever get to ad-lib any of that stuff? Because it always feels supernatural when it's coming from you.
No, I think there's definitely a sanctity about the naming. You know, I have to respect the naming. It's a calling, and, and one that I'm very privileged to take on in each episode. So I have to respect the names.
Okay. I feel it. I feel it.
You feel it, right?
I do. You're looking into my soul right now. I'm curious about the backstory with the West family because we don't know anything about where Mommy West is.
For real.
for real.
Are we going to learn?
Shame piece.
Are we going to learn more about Iris's backstory and where Mommy West went?
Yeah, there's an amazing scene in an upcoming episode where Tom and Jesse discuss that, which is very cool. Remember? You filmed that?
It's electric.
Yeah, but easy.
Tremendous.
Talked about it.
Okay.
We hint at it a lot this year. I think we'll deal with it more directly in subsequent seasons.
Thank you. Grant, I know you're not actually running at the speed of sound on this show, but I wonder how physically demanding this role has been for you. It's a pretty technically physical show. There's fights. It's not just running.
Yeah, it's it has its days. I mean, some days are just straightforward, you know, like we're pounding out scenes, but there are other days that are very action-heavy days and very heavy treadmill running, green screen days, and yeah, those days are exhausting days. But it's not every day. It's just, you know, every once in a while.
I sense that there's some subtext here.
No, it is physically demanding.
You know
yes.
what's actually really funny? Just seeing Barry run. Yeah. Hysterical.
Just actually like jog down
Just
the street.
running. I mean, Barry runs kind of nerdy.
That's all me. That's all me.
I think you actually ran into a pedestrian that day.
I did.
Yeah.
I run into things.
Let's talk about the team at Star Labs because for people who don't know, some characters in Star Labs have metahuman destinies down the line. I don't want to give anything away, but the internet is at your disposal.
You just gave that away.
Well, I didn't. The internet did. But I wonder, how that's going to affect the development of the team in season 1 and when we're going to start to see some of those elements revealed. You don't have to give an episode number, but are we working towards potentially other people on the Star Labs team developing their own abilities? And
Yes.
I'm sure the person will tell you, you can't answer that question.
PaleyFest.
Phoning a friend
Yeah,
to help
PaleyFest.
answer.
Okay, that's great.
Yeah.